try and go live for a little bit. I don't know if I like these ring lights in my face. Maybe if I turn it down a little. Huh? I don't mind being a little dark if nobody else minds. Oh yeah, last thing here. Scooby-Doo-wah, shooby-doo-wah. To anybody possibly coming in, I'm just doing a little quick impromptu stream, trying to talk to some Christians, maybe talk to some friendlies. I don't know if this is the background I want to run. Should we do this background? Or is this too much? Does it look like I'm floating? No sound detected. What does it mean, no sound detected? Lilith, can you hear me? I'm just doing some testing. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be live, but I wanted to see if y'all can hear me. Indeed you can. Okay, cool. Cool. I got a new camera, and it's like AI, so it follows you. Doesn't follow me back like quick enough. Aw, thank you. Let's see what's going on over in YouTube land. Oops. I'm really, I'm not sure if I want to get cooked right now because it's getting a little late and I got to work in the morning. But I wanted to try this out. You know, you get new toys, you get new things, you want to try them out. I do want to see, is there like a lag between my like talking and my lips? Does it look like I'm like in a foreign film that's being dubbed over? Like a spaghetti western, like an Italian giallo slasher film? Because if so, I might have to do some work. Thanks for hanging out, Lilith. I don't know if I'm really going to get like anything here. I think TT got a little upset with me from previous lives. It is a little laggy. Okay, good to know. I wonder if I could fix that by doing like, oops, 2500 and video encoder. Apply. Okay. Now, is it better by chance? We'll see. I don't know. Hi, Sammy. Hello, Jacob's Ladder. Let's see here. I do have a video ninja I can probably link. Oh god, we'll see if I can do this. Tiny. Nope. Oh, it's worse? It's actually worse? Yeah, I wonder how much longer until Neptune launches too. Let's see. Go live. I want to check on the chat over here. All right, friends in the YouTube chat. I know Christ is King. That's all cool, whatever. Oh, lower. Now my bit rate is too low. Output 3500. Audio bit rate apply. Okay. Maybe if I just like turn it off, then turn it back on. Still, is it any better on my lips? Does it look like? Thank you, infrared. Oh yeah. By the way, I need to turn you into a mod. Oh well, it's good enough. Does anybody want to come up and talk? You know, you can cook me. You don't have to be like a Christian. You don't have to be anything. You can cook me like on whatever, dude. Like you could just cook me on my lack of philosophical knowledge or something. I am really just online right now just to test some things out because I got a new. You can't hear me? Dave? Dave, can you hear me? I'm almost clipping, so I don't know. Very low, huh? What about now? What about now? What about now? Oh, it's like at the highest it can be. I guess I could turn it up. Mic ways. Hello, hello. More? That's the most I'm gonna give you. Better? Okay, cool. At least there's that. So yeah, anybody on TikTok, if you are interested in coming in and talking, go right ahead. I am God, actually. I am my own God. That's a tattoo I have. I don't know if y'all can see it. It says, I am my own damn God. It's a Modest Mouse lyric. If you know it, you know it. Hey, Avilo. Oh, yeah, Petty. You know what's up. Love Modest Mouse, too. Although that album was... I mean, I like their like earlier stuff a little bit more. Yeah, I voted for Kamala. RC 909. Why would I vote for the like dumpster fire that is Trump? Like, who would vote for that? Like, you realize that like the chances of him being on Epstein's list are high, very high. It just like to be possibly on that list is like a disqualifier. That's a, you know, that's a deal breaker for me, boys. Modest Mouse with Alkaline Trio, that'd be a good one. I saw Modest Mouse with, I don't know, I've seen him like 5 or 6 times. That doesn't matter. Let me see if I can get this Video Ninja working for you guys, though, on YouTube, because you guys are getting spicy over there, and I want to test it out. Let me see. My URLs. Copy here. Paste. Enter. Okay. And then copy. Put this in the chat. Oh, Control V. That link will get you to Video Ninja, and I should be able to bring you up. But we'll see how this goes. Pin. Let me see. I got my Video Ninja up. So once somebody comes in, I should be able to add you on. And I will probably have to turn on my microphone and stuff and things. Oh, I have a multi-guest over here. All right, champ one and only. Are you there? Are you coming in? Lilith, you're fine.
My phone takes a second to load. Sorry. Yeah, what's up, man?
Not much, not much. What's up with you, dude?
Oh, I'm just chilling. Yeah, I see you're live. I'm a deist.
You're a deist, okay. Cook me.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. What model of the universe do you subscribe to? Do you subscribe to the cyclical model, or do you think the universe is going to suffer a heat death?
Cyclical. I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah,
It is a good question because like sooner or later I do think that the like forces of gravity and like the expanding and contracting can only go so much to where it hits a point
yeah.
of like homogeneity, and yeah, that would be like the heat death where everything kind of just soups out, if you
Now
will.
to me, now to me, a heat death would make, logical sense if everything was randomness and chaos. I would say the cyclical model would be very indicative of order.
Yeah, that's a really good like point that you bring up. I don't know. I'm reading a lot on chaos right now, and like chaos is more about like
Yeah,
the nuance in things, and like
yeah.
how we do things like Galileo, or not Galileo, whoever dropped the ball from the Tower of Pisa. Like they want in the feather, and then it hit the same time, but they actually didn't because they need to do it in a vacuum. And the reason why they need to do it in a vacuum is because there's tiny little things like air surface and surface area and friction and stuff like that. So chaos kind of reintroduced that back in like the 60s 70s. It kind of got really big, and so to a point, yeah, like this like orderly, always expanding, always contracting universe that's like strobing, I guess, does seem
Yeah.
like it would have to sooner or later, unless it is like a closed system, then it would have to go to like a heat death if it is a closed system. If it's not a closed system, and say like there's other universes that contribute to it, which we do have a little bit of kind of like hints towards as they look at uh, the way that galaxies are clustered.
Mhm.
And it looks like there's this thing called like the bubble universe theory, where it was like all these universes are kind of bouncing around in this other dimension as bubbles, and then when they collide, how like bubbles, when they like kind of touch each other, they'll like quickly turn into one bubble.
That sounds like order too, though.
But you're getting outside energy, so like if you're getting order, and I think chaos and order can be like hand in hand. Like sooner or later there may be disorder, and there may be like points of just dark or like lifelessness, but for the most part there would be points of order, because chaos to me is just like a random like screen of pixels.
I'm saying without order, there are no galaxies or anything like that.
I think you're like categorizing order into something that looks like order, because
I
like
mean,
chaos
like the
theory
way
has.
particles function. I mean, like the way particles function, right? There's
Yeah.
like X amount of gravity throughout particles that make them function correctly.
Mm-hmm.
These types of things, yeah. Like mathematics, right? Like look at mathematics, right? Now, when stars are like heating to certain temperatures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mathematics is taking place, but where is the mathematics? It's not like a physical thing, right? It's an abstract concept.
Agreed.
Now, now these things. Now, I'm just wondering what mind that these abstract concepts existed in prior to human beings.
Hold on. I'm doing some trippy chaotic stuff with your icon so I can bring it over to YouTube.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah.
It's trippy. OBS and trying to like link TikTok with YouTube is wild. Okay, repeat what you said.
I was saying that I think mathematics was discovered. I don't think it's something we just made up, right? I think we discovered it.
No, I think you're another categorical error there. So like, mathematics
Yeah,
is a
sure.
language. Mathematics is a way that we describe what we call the universe or reality. We could have different mathematics. Different cultures did have different mathematics. You know, like we have a base 10 system. There was base 12
Yeah.
systems. There's base 6 systems, base 9 systems. There's
Yeah.
mathematics that didn't use like digits. There's mathematics that, you know, replaced them with pictures, or like they would like make little pyramids, like the Pythagorean mathematic model was just like, instead of it'd be like a dot, and then two dots would represent two, three dots would represent three, you know, and so on and so
Do
forth.
you think mathematics? Do you think that mathematics are objective truths of reality?
No. Mathematics themselves are a language that we've created to describe what is the universe. So another way to look at it is, once again, I'm kind of like going to talk about the universe as like this singular thing, because to me the universe is like this big moving soup, and the earth with the sun, you know, it's spinning around the sun. Humans are on that earth. uh, all the things are happening, concepts are being made with these humans, you know, they're flying around, but the universe is still the universe. These are all just parts of that universe. So
What
when
about what about logic? Is logic objective truths to reality?
I would say again, a logic is just another explanation of this big soup of universe. So like the
No, I know.
universe,
I'm asking you. I'm asking. Do you think it's an objective truth of reality?
that's like asking, is the like digestive system an objective truth of humans?
Do humans always have a digestive system?
No.
Is that what you're
Some are
asking?
born without.
Well, then there wouldn't be an objective truth, right?
There's no such thing as objective truth. I
Yeah,
really,
there is. The law of identity is an objective truth of reality.
that is part of logic, which is within the set of this larger universe, right? So it's not
Yeah, so I'm
outside. It's
saying the
not
law of
outside of that
I'm
universe.
saying I'm saying the law of identity is true regardless of if you would disagree with it.
I
Right?
okay, sure, and that's fine. But like, if the universe
That's
doesn't
an objective
exist,
truth.
if the universe doesn't exist and our form of physics doesn't exist, say the constants change, then perhaps logic does break down. You know, like they don't know. They can't like go into a black hole where, you know, these type of things do kind of get to a moment of like singularity where things just don't work anymore because our mathematics just aren't there yet. Our technology is not there yet. But what I'm
Yeah, we need to
saying,
discover more mathematics, right?
well, here's, yeah, possibly. Like I think there's like a
Right.
mathematics
That's
that deals more with just infinites. You know, like there's like larger
yeah,
infinites,
yeah.
there's smaller infinites. There's, I think that we have a lot to like really conclude on when it
You
comes
see
to
how
things
we're
like infinite.
discovering the mathematics, right? We're not making them up.
See, and that's what I want to get to though. So like discovering is just
Mhm.
kind of, I think you could discover maybe the aspect of the universe that you would be describing with mathematics or logic. But these things are still just aspects of this universe. They could be completely wrong. Like, say we only see in three dimensions. Maybe to a fourth dimension person, they see this completely other, you know, like puppeting, like objects around. You know, we just don't know. Yeah, and math is dependent on axioms. It's axiomatic. It's agreed upon, and the things that math is trying to describe, I would say those are pretty close to objective, right? Like like
I would say
the
they are objective. Yeah.
yeah, like the things that they're trying to describe probably are objective. Yeah, I don't like to say anything in like absolutes because, you know, who knows?
No, I know
We
what you
could
mean.
just be
Like
in a
you just do the
simulation,
brain in
blah
the
blah blah.
vat thing,
Right,
right?
right, right, right,
No, I
right.
know. Yeah. Yeah. No, I
So
get it.
what I call truth, and this is in reality, is it's what we call like asymptotal. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is, did you ever take like calculus?
No, and thank God I didn't.
I have to do this. I have to do this just to like make sure I used a little calculus here. Maybe I can find an example of an asymptote real quick.
I forget. I think there's a philosophy, right? When it
1/x.
engages in probability. I forget what it's called. Do you know what I'm talking about?
What was that? Sorry, say that again.
It's a type of philosophy that deals in probability mostly.
Bayesian probability.
This, yeah, Bayesian philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, if I could apply that to my argument, I think it would be a stronger case.
Bayesian requires like actual quantifiable things and like presuppositions.
Yeah,
So I mean, it does help, but like in the thing of like, does God exist? The question of does God exist? It's flawed
yeah,
because the Bayesian problem of, well, if God definitely does not exist, then in all probabilities there's zero. You know, like if there was a non-zero chance, then you could say yes, there's a chance that God could exist in, you know, multiple possibilities like that. But if
yeah,
God does not exist, then it's a different story. So let me see if I can get
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this up. These are asymptotes. And I'll just kind of point. I can't point at them.
One second, let me tell my son. I'm gonna mute up. I'm gonna tell my son something. 1 second.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I can pull up like just one. Oh, this is going to be like a whole freaking... There, I don't care. We're going to go over asymptotes.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, sure.
So, okay, this is a very simple graph of the like function of x where the like y-intercept is 1 over x, or the asymptote is 1 over x. So basically, 1 cannot be divided by 0. So if x is 0, that means if x is like right in that middle line right there, that we cannot get that number. And that's what I would call perfect truth, is that 0 amount.
Right.
We can keep going towards infinity, getting closer to it as humans gain knowledge, technology, all of these things. But since we aren't, you know, like omni whatever, like gods or what have you, then we will never actually reach that objective 100% truth, because we're humans, right? Like even with our technology and everything, we might be able to get very close, but it's asymptotal. So unless we can,
I totally agree with you though. Yeah, with what you're saying.
Yeah. So like the term like objectivity or like objective truth is axiomatic to me. It's more of a normative thing. That's like whatever's objective to you or me, then yeah, I can set an objective, like, or I can set objectivity. Like if you agree on something, then I can agree on something.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to think how I would like lay out my argument. I'm trying to say that I think, like, I do understand that I could be a brain in a vat, right? But I'm saying I think it's more probabilistic that the law of identity is an objective truth of reality. But I'm willing to say, yes, sure, I could be wrong, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, insane, you know, like I could be completely wrong. My whole thing is that I'm not really trying to, like, I do have these ideas, like truth is asymptotal, but I am not for sure on that. You know, it just seems to be that way. And I don't like to really like, with a deist, I'm a little more easy on it, but like with a, say, like a hardcore Christian theist, it's a little harder because
they have.
Yeah, they want to assert
problems. I know.
Yeah, they want to assert very, very like when we try and put logic to it, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Let me tell you what. You know, my favorite question to ask a theist is.
What's that?
I asked them first. I affirmed that they think that God is all knowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I asked them, okay, so if God is all knowing, then He knows all logical possible worlds that could exist before He creates, right?
Right.
So then I ask them, I say, is it logically possible for there to be a world with humans with free will that always do good? Now, here's the thing. If they say yes, well, then here's the question. Why didn't God actualize that world? And if they say no, that means that God is illogical because He wants something that's impossible. If it's not possible for humans to not sin and God doesn't desire sin, well, then He's illogical because He wants something impossible. This is my favorite question to ask them.
Yeah, I like that question. Like,
it's
honestly,
it's like a take on the problem of evil, right?
I do want to ask you, like, so why a deist?
Yeah, I was just trying to explain earlier, like when I can look at certain things and I just come to the conclusion that, yeah, I think there is a creator. Now, here's the thing. I've actually looked into the rebuttals of all of my, all of the best things I consider to be arguments. And I would say it's actually like kind of at a neutral standpoint because where I can see like things can be refuted. I think it's honestly just a neutral thing. Like maybe perhaps the best position is to just be agnostic, right? But I'm just a little over the fence. I'm just taking the deist position. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you on that. Honestly,
Yeah.
like the only thing that I couldn't like accept with like a deist position would be
Hmm.
I could accept a deist position, say like there was a programmer and we are in that simulation that this programmer made. Uh,
Yeah. In fact, this is how I kind of solve the problem of evil. Well, you can solve the problem of evil in two ways, right? Now, when you say God, you don't necessarily have to be a conscious agent. For instance, an advanced AI system could have created our reality for all I know. And so technically, that would be our God, an AI
right,
agent or whatever.
right,
And that's not necessarily a moral agent. So if evil comes from this AI system, the AI system itself isn't necessarily a moral agent, right? Or the creator perhaps created the laws of physics and the chemicals interact with the laws of physics. So therefore, the creator isn't necessarily responsible by what comes about if it's just simply observing, right?
right. See, and at that point, this creator, I have to ask, like, were they just kind of was this like an open theism type of look at like Platinga's like free will, like where God can be all powerful, but for some reason free will can also exist. And
Oh, oh, sure, yeah. I think you're meaning his omniscience, right? His all knowing, and can omniscience and free will exist simultaneously? Is what you're asking, right?
right,
Yeah, I actually solved this problem, right? The way it works is
Platinga
God.
did. I just want to
Okay,
say
sure.
I think Platinga solved it technically, but like it's a
Yeah,
very
sure. I'm actually not
technically.
familiar
But
with
keep
his
going.
work. It's actually the funniest story. I actually realized. I actually realized this. My son's messing with me. I actually realized this as I was like taking my trash out. I was thinking in my head, and I was thinking if God has an infinite amount of worlds to choose from, and in all the worlds the humans have free will, right? Let's say God has a goal in mind, right? All God has to do is actualize the specific world where the humans have free will that closely align with his goals. This way, he's not impeding upon free will. Now, if there's only one world that God knows the outcome of, then that world is in fact determined by God's omniscience. But if he has an infinite amount of worlds to choose from, he just picks one that's closely aligned with his goals.
Yeah, and that would logically hold sound, but I just still
How does the
I
other
I
guy? How does the other guy solve it?
Platinga just says that yeah, God can't see the future. God can't like actualize the like he can actualize the future, but he doesn't know exactly what the future's going to lay out. He like God can see all possible contingencies, kind of like in
Okay, so he can
what
see all possibilities, but he doesn't know the conclusion is what it is.
right. But
Mm-hmm.
you would you would think that since he's got things like prophecy in the Bible, this is
He
just the
does know the
Christian God.
future.
Yeah, he does know the
Yeah,
future, and there's a
right.
problem there because
Yeah.
in the Old Testament it says if this does not come true, it's not of me. This is fake news. This is a
No,
different
yeah. I'm completely aware. Yeah.
wolf in sheep's clothing type of prophecy. I think that's in Deuteronomy 13, if anybody's wondering. Yeah, so like
Yeah. What makes. Yeah.
when it when it comes to this like a different type of God, if they were all powerful but they couldn't see the future, okay, maybe I can get in on this. Like maybe the future is like a theory, and like the future doesn't exist. Where B theory, I think the future does already exist. We're just like kind of like working in towards it, and like there's no free will whatsoever. Um, which I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
believe in determinism? Is that it?
Uh, it's like I don't know what I would call it. I just read a Slaughterhouse Five by Kurt Vonnegut, and I was like, oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Traphalimodorans or whatever, those aliens that can see people in like 4 dimensions, where they're like a baby on
Hmm.
one end and then an old man on the other. They're like a big caterpillar. That's kind of like
Hmm.
what I thought, kind of the B theory of time is like. And to me, that kind of makes more sense. And the idea of like becoming unstuck in time is maybe possible. Who knows?
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
Wait, no. I'm asking you. Do you believe that humans have free will, or do you believe in determinism?
I think that we have the illusion of choice. I think that we can make
So you don't.
choices, but the outcomes of those choices are already within our, like they've already happened in a future, and we're just like coming into those choices. And like this is just a personal belief. I have no idea why. I would just say it just fits more with the cyclical eternal universe, and
Yeah.
um, it just kind of makes more sense to me. Now, whether or not you could like
Yeah.
travel or like become unstuck, like I said, that is like a completely different situation where that's like fantasy. But as far as like free will, I think it feels like free will. It looks like free will, but in the end, it's like determined by so many different things. And I do agree, like chaos is part of it too. So
Yeah.
like the butterfly effect does take into account, where if a butterfly flaps its wings in, Brazil or whatever, it's going to end up as a hurricane, on the Gulf of
Yeah.
Mexico. So,
Yeah. It's interesting. To me, I've actually looked into determinism. I think it's really fascinating. I'm not entirely sure if it's true or not. Um, but let's say that it is the case that it is true. This would essentially make us like biological machines, right?
I, I like personally, I've had major surgery. I've talked to a lot of surgeons. I had testicular cancer. It was bilateral testicular cancer. It actually metastasized last year, and
Yeah.
they had to cut me open with a 14-inch incision, and they had to like go in, and I learned a lot about like how the lymph like system works, how cancer can take certain like pathways within the
Yeah.
body. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot like fixing a car, if you ask me. Like
Yeah.
a lot of
There's a
surgeons will
there's
say
a
that too.
there's a quote from someone that I really like. His name's Frederick Vagine. He's the guy who built like the first CPU. He actually believes in panpsychism. Are you familiar with this ideology?
Yeah, and see, there are like scientific backings for these ideas of like
Yeah.
panpsychism. There's a biologist you
Yeah.
might want to look into, kind of up and coming. I don't know how I feel about him, but
Yeah.
I like the like excitement in his ideas because he's got very cool ideas about curing cancer. He's got great ideas about regrowing limbs. Uh, it's just really neat, and his name's I think Brandon Levine, and
Right. Right.
he basically describes that like everything has some form of consciousness where
Right.
even to the most basic forms like an electron
Like the
knows what
particles that make up
they have a
the
job,
particles that make up the rock are conscious. Right.
right? They have some sort of job, they want to be doing something. So,
Right.
and then there's kind of like different theories of when does a chair become a chair, like do the particles of a chair know to stay a chair? It gets a little
You know,
weird.
even the collapse of the wave function is a mathematical process, right?
Right. And I was just reading about that too. Gosh, a lot of people like to like shove in the observer effect to like make it seem like
Yeah.
humans have some sort of like interaction with entangled particles, and it
Yeah.
collapses the
Yeah.
wave function because of this
Yeah.
observer effect. But in reality, and if you like look deeply into it, that is not the case. It's actually things like when they do the slits experiment in physics,
Yeah. Yeah.
since they are using little readers that'll tell when a photon goes like past it, right there it is kind of reading it, and it is affecting it in a way that like there is an observer effect, but it's actually like the things
Yeah.
that you're reading it with are affecting and causing spin to go a certain way, and then because if you think about the wave function, it's just electrons are in a cloud around an atom, and we don't know which way they're spinning until you observe them, quote unquote.
Right.
I hate that term because it makes it feel like, when a human observes them, then they
like we're having an effect on it. It's
yeah,
just,
and we
we
aren't.
just know what it is.
Yeah, it's just
visualize
it just
or
seemed
observe
that
it.
way. Yeah, it really did seem that way. And at first, like I'll even
I
admit,
get what you're saying. It seems as though we cause the outcome. That's just the first time we observe the outcome. Is what you're saying. I know. I totally
right,
get it. Yeah.
right, and like if we
Yeah.
didn't have these, like, I don't know if there's any way to observe the breaking down of the wave function without
Right.
causing that like observer effect. And
Uh-huh.
maybe they'll figure it out somehow. I think there's been like some pretty cool stuff going on in the physics world. Like, man, they're doing
Yeah.
some wild stuff with like quantum computing and time reflections, and I'm not even a physics guy. I actually dropped out of physics in college. But I love it. I
Yeah.
love it now. But
No,
yeah,
I know. I was telling my son that because I started learning about quantum mechanics recently, and I was like, man, this stuff is so fascinating to me. I love it. I wish I was this enthusiastic when I was younger.
same. When I was in college, I was more worried about like what time it was and like when the specials were starting at the bars.
Exactly. Yeah. There's only one thing you're like actually doing in college,
Yeah, and now like I'm older, it's like,
right?
if I only just like went back and didn't like base my life off of partying. I had fun, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
it ended up with a history degree on me. I was pre-med. I didn't like all the working. I wanted to party more. Didn't do it. Got a history degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm an accountant somehow. But Gabe, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's up?
Um, I'm an idealist. Do you know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I think the issue with panpsychism is like you got to explain how like individual subjective experiences come together and create one unified
That's what. Yeah.
subjective experience.
So like the
Okay,
like
so I
when
can
does
explain that. Or do you want-
when does multiple grains of rice become a pile? Like kind of thing.
Yeah, I can explain that. Yeah, so you have like consciousness exists, right? It's like the primary thing. And when your brain develops, your brain just simply tunes into the consciousness itself, but just at a different frequency. So you have like one
No.
whole consciousness, right? There's like one big consciousness system, so to say. And so your brain is just tuning into the frequency of that consciousness.
Right, but I guess like I personally think that there's something that's like to be the inanimate universe as a whole. I don't think there's something that's like to be a rock.
Well, the particles that make up the rock is consciousness, right? And in
But
fact, like the guy, I'm sorry, what?
they don't have their own like personal subjective experience.
See, that's
They do the
where
whole
particles-
inanimate universe.
Yeah, right.
I kind of agree with both of you.
Subjective experience. I would say you don't have a subjective experience unless you have like a brain, right? Like for instance, when I unalive, the idea is that I would be experiencing consciousness at a different frequency, not the current one I'm currently at, which is a subjective experience.
would a plant count as like having a brain?
I personally think
No, a plant.
all metabolizing bodies have an experience. So I think jellyfish, they don't have brains, but there's something that's like they get hungry.
Right, and that's kind of what I was thinking about with like if panpsychism is the way to go, and we can go deeper into this like with what Brandon Levine did, which is very interesting. But what I would understand is if panpsychism, if each of these atoms had some like form of consciousness. I'm not saying it's like an advanced form of consciousness or even like a subjective experience. It's more just like an algorithm that they can follow, and maybe that gets like more complicated as things go on, but as they like combine, it would be similar to like like the man of war, which is kind of like a jellyfish. It's actually multiple, it's like a colony of different like animal
Yeah,
or
but like
like
this unified
beings that
experience,
turn
are they
into
are
that.
they still are they still having their own individual experience while having this unified experience at the same time?
That's a good question.
Maybe there's just different frequencies of the unified consciousness, right?
It's just not to me. It just doesn't make any sense. I think I
The
experience
pan the
there's something it's like
panpsychist
to
would
be my.
have to like
Go ahead.
acknowledge like, oh my gosh, my leg muscle like striated cells are, thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
No, I think it
weird.
would make sense if there's different frequencies of consciousness, right? As the whole. You don't think that makes sense?
You would have to have some sort of like, maybe not frequencies is what I would say, but like maybe like some sort of maybe, yeah, like
Like
a,
there's different qualia, that's the word of it,
yeah.
right? But there's still one like essential consciousness.
For instance, with Brandon Levine, so he had a where like cells, when they're in their like most basic like what's the word, stem cell like form, uh they're kind of like wondering, what am I gonna be, kind of like a little kid looking at all the different jobs that he can have as an adult. And what is determining of that is the environment, like the type of chemical makeup of the environment around them. If there's more like acetylcholine, or if there's like certain polypeptide chains that are around these cells, it can trigger things like cancer. It can trigger things like, oh, I'm going to start reproducing as an arm. And we see these things where people may have an extra arm growing somewhere, and at that point, like these cells are kind of confused. They think, like, I should be creating this arm, and they've kind of determined that it is actually because of the environment that they're in. So they did an experiment, I think, with like frog legs, where they were able to, or what, maybe it was a salamander. I think salamanders can regrow limbs. They did something with some animal that can regrow limbs, and then they like put the like limb like cells that had not formed yet, the stem cells, in this environment that would tell it, you're a tail, or you're going to be an actual arm. And what they found out is that these would start growing back, and they could increase the rate at which it would grow back, because without like human intervention, it can take a long time for like a crab to grow back his claw, or a salamander to grow back their tail. But they were able to, like, and you can look it up. I don't know, I'm just kind of going off memory here, but you can look it up, and they have like regrown tails and like limbs, I believe, in these animals at like a higher rate, to where it's theoretically possible to regrow limbs on a human, because we have seen these things already, like teratomic cancers, tumors. They will grow like teeth, they'll grow eyeballs, they'll grow basic human like whatever central nervous systems, and that's all because these stem cells get told kind of like what their future is going to be. And yeah, it goes wrong sometimes. So like, in a way, like, yeah, there is this consciousness of like, what am I going to be? And then, kind of the environment tells it like, oh yeah, you're going to be this, you're going to be an eyeball cell, you're going to be a tissue, you're going to be a hair follicle, so on and so forth.
Yeah,
And
but I don't think there's something it's like to be the cancer cell, right? Or
right.
is it metabolizing?
Like a teratomic cancer cell, I would say, yeah. I mean, like they eat, they reproduce. They usually reproduce at ungodly rates, and it's like a freakish, kind of like The Thing off of the movie The Thing, where it's like just it doesn't know what to do, so it just makes this like abomination of like a tumor inside of you. And a lot of times, like when you look at a tumor, they are like weird and scary looking. Like some of
Wow,
them, Yeah, and it's weird. It's really weird. Like there's questions of like, are they conscious? You know, if they do have like a basic like central nervous system that's like forming, but these cells also don't have like the appropriate like markers to turn off, and that's where like the cancer could be maybe caught, and then they could say put an environment around where your cancer is growing and kind of tell the cancer no, you are a kidney cell, like stop acting like a freaking teratomic monster cell, you're a kidney cell, and you can like fix it that way by giving it the environment that it needs through, you know, protein chains and all this other chemistry and biology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, like that all follows to me, like, and that all seems to kind of fit with like chaos and like chaos theory, and that's why, you know, I'm an atheist, because I don't think that there's really any mind behind it. I think that we are in the analog of a like static picture of many different pixels. So if you imagine like a flat screen TV and just all the pixels are all going off and making all kinds of different colors, sooner or later, maybe just for a frame, those pictures are going to arrange into the Mona Lisa. You know, like that's just what it is. Like sooner or later, that static will just move just enough if you give it enough time, and it will make every single like known picture you could think of. It could make a picture of me talking to you right now on this app, and
right. But
like theoretically, that's what I think is happening. Is just, you know, we're particles bouncing into each other, and we just happen to be in a part of the universe that has enough like formation and organization to allow for this to happen. And then that would also explain why things like cancer happens, evil happens, you know, a freaking meteor could hit the earth at any point in time for no reason, you know, that kind of stuff.
So, as an idealist, I posit that experience is the fundamental essence of reality, and um, but that's because like physically, are you familiar with physicalism?
Yeah.
Basically,
Like
is that what you think? Do you
like
think
materialism?
experience? Do you think experience like is an emergent property of physical processes?
I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to believe that, because whenever I get into like meta ethics or like metaphysics, my brain has a mission, and my metaphysical like mission is to somehow make it possible to download my consciousness into a robot that could then live forever, just because I'm so agnostic on all of it, like deep down. So deep down, I don't really know like what. It seems to me that there's always some physical aspect, even if you were to download a consciousness. To me, you would have to like replace the brain fiber by fiber with like some sort of other type of fiber that can hook up to a hard drive or something with a CPU, and there's still like a physical aspect to that. Like,
right,
if you were to separate, or if you didn't have a physical spot like part of it, I don't think there would be a mind.
So I'm saying that like the physical is a an image. It's what that mental process looks like, but from like a dissociative perspective. But um,
And
yeah,
it could
so
be right. It's just like I don't think we have much to like back it up, unfortunately. Like I want to believe in that like type of reality, because I think the possibilities are better.
So I think physicalism is incoherent, and so if something is incoherent, then it can't be true. And the reason why I think it's incoherent is because like any emergent property has to be logically deducible to its like lower level constituents, and experience like you can't um, quantify experience. That's immeasurable. Like you can't say, well, what's the weight of your emotion, or how long's your thought, or like, you know, if someone never saw red before, and someone gave them all the information about what red was, the wavelength, all these numbers, there's no amount of numbers or quantities that's going to ever convey what it's like to see red.
I get what you're saying, and I think that there's still a physical aspect though. So that, like, for instance, what most people axiomatically agree, even though what they may see may not be what I see as red, like the color, it is the color of blood. It is the color of, you know, Valentine hearts. Like I have a perception of what red is, but maybe that my perception of red looks purple to you, but still blood would be that purple, like the heart would still be that purple. It would have the wavelength of red, but you're just seeing it, you're perceiving it as this purple. I think that that's a moot point. Like if we axiomatically agree that, yeah, what we're looking at, that's red, then the actual differences don't matter, like when it comes to perception.
Sorry, what I'm saying is that because I guess the suggestion is uh, matter, which is non-experiential, right,
Mm-hmm.
gives rise to something that's experiential. So, uh, and then so that's the thing is like, because you can't. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but you understand what I'm saying? Like you can't.
No, I get
Um,
what you're saying. Like
you
you're
can't
going from.
deduce qualities into
Mhm.
quantities.
Again, like I think that it's emergent, and maybe it's
But
not. It's
if it's emergent, then it has to be logically deducible to its lower level constituents. Like my body's made out of tissues in terms of cells, whatever, all the way
right,
down.
right.
Experience is something that's immeasurable, and so you're saying like the measurable,
Yeah, I think that
and then
experience doesn't exist. It's just connected to your physical brain.
you're saying experience doesn't exist.
Right. Like
What do
outside
you
of a
mean?
mind, like objectively, like experience after you pass away, after the blink of, the metaphor of human existence compared to the 13 billion years that this universe existed, that experience will just be maybe like a drop of, like it's like a blink. So
I know, but
what
you're
came
saying like
before and what came after really doesn't care. Maybe there is like a slight. Uh, the Vsauce said something about this where humans do, like, if you exist, that you do, like, mess with the mass and like the gravitational pull of things like Saturn, just like your body right now does have at a chaotic, like, minuscule value, because it's a non-zero value, that it does have an effect on the rest of the universe. So there is like an effect of like your existence now.
But what you're saying is like these once subatomic particles that were dead, not experiential,
Mhm.
they grouped together and then suddenly became experiential.
Well, yeah, and like we can
But
replicate
that's just
that,
like,
like with the Miller-Urey experiment,
but if you,
where they
but
took
if you,
just basic, atmospheric compounds, and they included a large energy source, equivalent to like maybe an asteroid hit or like a very charged lightning strike, and it did create the building blocks for life, for like amino acids, and peptide chains again, once again, start coming into play, and you can have very basic like prokaryotic life forms that come out of that, that then turn into eukaryotic, and then evolution takes its place. From which I think that things like morals are derivative of, as a part of survival.
right, but I don't think that explains how or why experience arises from physical processes. And if you can't,
Well,
if
I
you
would say
can't
that
logically deduce it, then it's
the
incorrect.
experience does arise evolutionarily for survival. Like a goldfish doesn't have
But
a very
okay,
long
but
memory, but
right. But I posit that all of reality is mental. There's just one universal field of subjectivity, and I posit that life and biology is a dissociative process in the mind. So, and I'm that mind. So, and we know minds dissociate, right? We just kind of forgets or
sometimes I
so it's just
dissociate. It's not really my fault, okay? Or it is a little bit my fault, but I'm like trying to do like all this stuff on this computer here.
right.
Keep
So
going.
dissociation is something that's it's intrinsic in mind, and so when the mind at large, I guess, dissociates, it looks like a metabolizing body.
I see what you're saying.
And also, I'm thinking that whatever reality is, it has to be eternal, right?
Yeah.
And so eternal means like timeless and unchanging, you know.
Right.
And so if matter is constantly ever changing, appearing, disappearing, it's fleeting, right? That can't be like ontically real.
Well, that's where I would say like we have this idea of a closed universe where there's now like propositions that there's like bubble theory, and it explains why like certain star clusters and galaxy clusters end up the way they do. That might not be the like actual answer, but it's logical. It fits within our physics that we know. What I was gonna say though was, as far as like matter always bouncing around and existing, I mean that also fits within our existence because like matter is neither created nor destroyed. It's just kind of transferred as along with energy and light, and that is just part of the chaos that is the static, like noise
But what I'm
of
thinking,
the universe.
yeah, it's like cause and effect. Like the cause, I think, is invisible, and the effect are just it's an ever changing state of a one unchanging substance. But that change of state is not something a new ontology, right? It's not. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying, and like don't get me wrong, I wish I was an idealist. I really do. Like I read into a lot of like weird chaos magic, even like I'm this weird chaos kind of like obsessed person where it's like, can you like capture chaos or whatever, and like can you just if your mind thinks that this puddle you're sitting in is a hot tub, maybe it is just a hot tub. Type of thing. Other guests here, servanter of
Hey,
the merciful. What's going on?
I got a question
Ken.
for you, but
What's up?
if you don't mind.
Sure.
I'm sure you're a believer of evolution is true, especially macroevolution. And do you also believe in abiogenesis? That is true?
Abiogenesis?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would think that those are perfectly fine explanations. Am I a believer in them?
I mean,
Not
do
so
you believe
much
that's
as I
true?
do
Yeah.
know that they follow a very strict set of rules that seem to be reflected in our reality.
Okay, but do you believe they are confirmed and
I don't like the
proven in
word
science?
believe. I don't.
Okay. Do you accept that science have proven them to be true, or not yet, or they're still working on them?
Again, I said this earlier. I don't think that truth is objective or like complete. I don't think there's an ever such thing as a total like universal truth. So this would be what you and I would consider true, right? Like this is something that normatively we, meaning like you, me,
Okay.
I don't know why you guys' names never show up on the thing. Gabe.
For example,
all kind of agree on like, yeah, we're that's wood.
but equivalent to that's gravity. Is gravity a something that is real, is true, proven by science?
Now gravity is a very, very, very complicated thing. The way that I understand gravity might not be the way that other people understand gravity.
But science. Do you believe science has
I
found
think
a way
they've
to
I think they've come pretty close. They've gone
very
pretty
good.
far.
Okay, very good. Have they come close to evolution and abiogenesis the same way they did for gravity?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So first of all, abiogenesis has not, science today says has neither been confirmed or disproven. So that's the position of science. So they don't know if it's true, right? They don't know it. How about evolution, right? Science is divided. Some of them say it's true, some of them it's false. Now, would you agree? If,
I would think that most think it's true.
yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
I would have to hear the people that the
Sure.
naysayers.
So here's my biggest question: if abiogenesis, which means life coming from non-life, is natural, through natural process, life comes from non-life, and evolution is actually true, is false, or both of them are false, would you say God exists? If they were false.
If your God is like an alien that put life on a asteroid that then hit the Earth and introduced like amino acids, maybe.
No. What I'm saying is that if evolution was found to be false, for example, you have not evolved from fish. Let's imagine, because evolution today claims that you used to be fish, that your ancestor used to be fish, that you found a mechanism to evolve.
That seems just like absurd to you, right?
Yeah, it's not, for me. It's total nonsense.
Why?
And because science is lying to you. They don't have evidence for that.
Do you know what a prokaryotic cell is? Soul. Do you know what a prokaryotic?
Tell me about
a
it.
single cellular version of life that started after abiogenesis. So the Miller-Urey experiment has been performed, can be performed. I actually in our Discord have the instructions on how to perform the Miller-Urey experiment at your own home if you have the proper things. What it says.
Wait.
Am I quieter than the guest? I'm turned up all the way. Dang it. Let me see. Hold on.
That's fine. I can hear you.
All right. I'm turning up my microphone there a little bit. If it's too loud, sorry.
Better.
All right. The Miller-Urey provided us an explanation that with Earth's basic elements that make up the atmosphere, when introduced with a large form of energy, such as maybe a volcanic eruption, maybe a asteroid hit Earth, maybe it was a large thunderbolt that happened,
Sure.
it will create these basic building blocks of life called amino acids.
The building blocks, yes.
Okay.
But not life. But
this is where the chaos comes in. Now, if those amino acids exist, they are going to arrange in such a way that they are going to create these prokaryotic.
You're speculating, brother. You started well. You said some blocks, but you're just now speculating that these blocks will assemble themselves and then life will appear. You're speculating.
No, do you understand chaos theory? Sooner or later, if you have things in a bucket.
Are we in the casino now? You're betting. So you're telling me that now you're playing cards. You're betting that these blocks are going to combine in a way that forms life. Do you know for that for sure?
Yeah, given enough time.
So Servant. So
you're in the casino. You're playing lottery.
You're saying life can't come from non-life. So you posit God, right?
No. I have said two things. If life doesn't come from non-life, right? What's the other alternative? What's the alternative?
Idealism.
Can you idealism? I never heard.
Yeah, it means the fundamental essence of reality is mental. It's one mind, and we're all just it's just one mind.
Yeah, the Eastern philosophy goes deeper into that. Yeah, some of it will say it's the opposite. It's the big nothing.
Okay, maybe I'm not familiar with this concept. If you guys can explain to me. So if
all
life,
that exists is God. All that exists is God.
So I'm God. So I'm God.
Yeah,
So
Part
I have
all
a
that
will
exists.
to create the universe. I have power to create the universe.
No,
But
God, no, no. I would say God is limited. Now,
God is limited.
yeah, yeah. So, for example, God is limited in power. For example, for you to be omnipotent, that means all the power that exists. That doesn't mean all the power to do whatever you want. So, if you have all the power that exists, it could be very limited power, but you have all the power that exists. And so, it's kind of like a painter,
But do I,
and
brother? Do you have power to create the universe? I mean, let's
no,
be.
no. Oh, yeah.
He's trying to say that you are like a cell within the body of God, right? So you have
Okay.
not quite like we have digestive enzymes that are known to break down starches. He's saying that you're maybe one of those enzymes. Now, can those enzymes write a thesis? No. Does that make sense?
But also, God cannot create something other than Himself.
He cannot create
He's
something
limited to
other than himself.
Yeah, so nothing has been created. Created meaning
I see what you're saying.
bringing something into existence that never existed before.
See, this is where I get like the meta ethics kind of like bore me a little bit because now it's like now we're in like too much of what if land, where like I do like to try and stay, you know, like with what we know, as far as what we know.
We live in a world. We live in a world of absolute limitations, right?
What do you mean?
We are limited. It's the universe is not limited. What do you mean?
Everything is within limitations. There's
everything has characteristic and attributes that goes within its own nature. Okay.
Yeah,
except for like infinite regress does exist. So I would say that, or probable. It's probable that it exists. So we can't really say that everything is limitless. The term limit would mean that you're limiting something that is limitless, which is like infinite is not limited.
Infinite regress of what?
Can I, Mr. Gabe?
Sorry, I'm jumping.
I wanted to say.
I'm jumping into a philosophical syllogism.
You mentioned possibilities, and you're saying we are one component of God.
Thank you, Burns, for the $4.99 super chat saying I don't needs it. I don't know what that means. You don't need the money, or you don't need the discussion. I love you, buddy. All right, sorry, go on.
Yeah. So, in our paradigm as human beings, we have to only consider reasonable possibilities. Can we be sleeping here today and imagine everything here that happens in our reality? Yes, but we need serious theories. We need serious business. We can actually consider so many other possibilities, but we have to consider what is the best explanation. Now, we have two theories. Either this reality came naturally, that life comes from non-life, simple as that, right? That mechanisms were found naturally to build, and Mr. Host mentioned some blocks and this and that, or it's God. There are two possibilities of this. So you agree?
Or it's the mind. I think the mind. I think there's not but life.
Yes.
But God is not something separate and apart from creation.
It doesn't matter. But God makes a decision to create life. Would you agree that He will be the one responsible to assemble
He won't create life. Non-life. He is life. There is not but life.
Yeah. So you believe in divine abiogenesis. You believe, that's another term. I'm fine with that. Divine abiogenesis claims that life comes from the divine, not from natural mechanisms. So I agree with you. Life comes from life, which means God has to be the one, ultimately, someone eternal, right? So my point is, there are only these two theories. If one fails, the other is true. I think that's the biggest debate, right?
Yeah, I think idealism is true. Do you think God is something separate and apart from creation?
It's irrelevant. Does he exist or not? That's all. Whether he's involved in this reality or not.
If God were separate from creation, then that would infer that something is separate of God. Something created God.
Okay,
why?
So, servant, you think that all that exists is God, then, right?
No. I think we are a creation of God.
So we're something other than
no,
God.
it doesn't.
Right?
It doesn't mean that we don't have some substance from God, but can God create matter that is not essence to him? Yes, he can create something that is not essence to him and use it to build something. Like for example, we can use something ourselves. Doesn't mean it's from us, right? We can use the matter around
No, but
us.
that's assembling. That's not creating. God only has himself to create from. All that in the beginning, all that exists is God. Nothing else exists. You're saying he can create something other than what exists. It's just why can't I just rightly say that God is
Correct.
limited?
Okay. Can he change? Okay, I can grant you what you're saying. If God exists all the time, only his substance existence. Okay, okay. So he might use substance, his part, a percentage of his substance to build something, right? Something that is him. He is eternal. He is illimited, which means he can use his substance with unlimited power, right? So he can actually change it. He can play with it. He can change its substance.
No, not unlimited power.
He has. Yeah.
He's limited by certain patterns and
Yeah,
regularities.
his nature, within his nature, but he can use his substance and change it. For example, let's say he's made of water. He can maybe change the molecule and change it to something else, and now we have another constituent, right? Correct?
But he's not something separate from the water. I think all matter is the image of a mental process. So like
Okay.
the whole inanimate universe is the image of one God.
So for example, when an atom lose electrons, does it stay the same atom? No, it's something different, right? Sometimes.
He's saying that the power of the mind is putting these atoms together for you to like make sense of this reality that you're in. That we are actually all part of this like greater larger mind that may not be completely aware of itself. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
I think it is metacognitive, but I'm saying like
Possibly.
the effect, like time, space, and matter is an effect by thinking, and thinking is an electrical process. I think
Have you ever
an electromagnetic process?
So there's this really good it's written by a Mormon, but it's a really good fantasy series called the Stormlight Archives. Super nerdy here. I'm being very, very nerdy. But in this, it's Brandon Sanderson is the author of this large collection of books, and they have what they call the cognitive realm, where like these things like a wire, you know, like this wire right here, would in the cognitive realm just be like a little ball, and the ball, like if somebody were in this cognitive realm, were to pick it up, and it would just say like, I'm a wire. And like that is because people view it as such, and this cognitive realm is this like collective consciousness that creates like a kind of like separate like dimension. And in a way, that sounds like panpsychism to me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I'm only taking what's nature's given, and the only thing I can know for sure, without a doubt, is that I'm having an experience. And
Right.
so I start
See,
with
and
that.
the
Everything
difference
else is theory after that.
is you think that your experience came before you were born?
No. I guess I'm concluding that all that exists is like what's fundamental is experience, because you can't deduce um, quantities or qualities from quantities. And so I'm thinking that's the whole hard problem of consciousness. You can't explain why physical processes emerge, experience. So I'm thinking then it has to be fundamental. And also, like, what doesn't change is the fact that you're having an experience throughout your whole life. Even if your body changes and your experiences change, your thoughts change, but the fact that you're having an experience doesn't change until, I guess, the dissociation ends. So
Have you like heard about like Albert Fish or like other like serial unalivers? Have you heard that
no.
many of the times they were not these violent people until they had this like traumatic head injury. There's also the story of what's his face that had a like railroad spike put through his head and it changed him completely. That's where experience, I think, starts to change with a physical. So I don't know how you would, maybe if it's,
Well, I think the
if
brain.
you're
I
an
think the brain is a
idealist, I
filter.
guess I would need that explained.
So I think the brain is a filter. It's kind of like yeah. And if you disrupt the filter, you're going to disrupt the experience. Because I think we're all just a dissociative aspect of the one mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you disrupt the filter, you disrupt the experience.
Do you think that there's a possibility to transcend?
What do you mean by that?
Like, say you've taken on the experience of two people at the same time.
I don't think so.
Like, I'm just wondering, like, is this kind of a, like, I'm trying to picture in my head like a source of consciousness, and is it like splitting off into like each person or like brain or mind?
Yeah, like through each dissociative body, or so through each metabolizing body, it dissociates.
Okay.
Um, and it basically just it forgets in dissociation. It forgets that what it was before, right? So it's kind of like having a new. It suffers with dissociative identity disorder. Basically, God has dissociative identity disorder.
There's a friend of mine that I used to go live with. His name, Stetch, was his name, and he had an NDE where he like said that what you're describing is exactly what he was aware of, like after, like during, and but all of that around his near-death experiment or experience, kind of an experiment. Wow. So there was like I mean, there's people that say these things. I would be the skeptic, of course, because I'm just a skeptic. That would push back and say, you know, I just don't. I want to believe these things. I think that idealistically, like idealism is a funner way to like kind of view like the outcomes of things.
If you accept that matter can't be ontically real, because it's ever changing, and whatever reality is, I'm saying it's eternal, so it's unchanging and timeless. So if something is changing, it can't have any like actual existence. Like you know, let's say like the universe was water. It goes through this water cycles of, you know, vapor, liquid, solid, or whatever. Those change of states aren't a change of substance, right? It's not like a different. So it's not like vapor is something different than whatever, right?
Hey, Tiny.
So,
yeah.
So
yeah,
matter.
Yeah, but scientists understand that something, when, for example, when you have ice, it's ice.
Thank
right?
you, Flynn. Phineas Gage, his personality completely changed after he had, I think it was a railroad spike, or it was a stick or something. Then he ended up like falling in love with the stick. It's an interesting story, but keep going.
Yeah. So for Gabe, scientists recognize realities. When you have water, it's on, like it's in a phase of ice. It's ice. Then when it's water. But we have to acknowledge some temporary existence, right? It is something. This is how we define things, right? Right now, I'm speaking to you. I'm 38. This is who I am. Tomorrow, I might change. Right now, this is who I am, right?
Right. You're constantly changing your body. You're shedding skin and shedding dead cells and regrowing like all the time. But
Sure.
like you're not changing the substance of you, which says so. I was just trying to say that a change of state is not a change of substance. And so all these matter is an ever-changing state, I think, of appearance and disappearance of a one unchanging substance.
So
like
Gabe,
ripples on
I got a question. I think this is very abstract to me. I think when you speak, and apologize. Majority of the planet believes in a supreme being in a form or another. You guys can have different opinions, different views, our intellects is so amazing that we can imagine things, right? So, we have a lot of imagination. Look at the movies we create and stuff like this, and even what we achieved. Now, the majority of the planet believes in a supreme being in a form or another. Are you, Gabe? Do you believe in God yourself?
Well, if you say God, if you refer to something separate and apart from creation, then no. But I define God as the universal mind.
So someone who made a decision for you to exist.
Oh,
no,
hey, Cody.
No. Okay. So you don't believe. Okay. So for the hosts, why do you find yourself not part of this majority of this planet who believes in this form of?
Are you saying like the Abrahamic God, or
no,
just
not necessarily.
just like a
Hindus
theist,
believe in God.
like a
Hindus believe in
theist,
God.
like a larger?
Yeah, the
existence.
majority of the planet believes in a supreme being in a form or another. So we have different religions, but they all unified that God exists.
Those are
There's
just
something.
They just seem like easy answers to things they didn't know. And the more that we find out, with science and technology,
that's a possibility.
Doesn't it seem like God seems to get smaller and smaller? So
I don't think so. That's a possibility. That's a possibility.
If the Hindus okay, so the Hindus believe in just one thing, right?
Yeah, but they believe in a supreme being, right? Someone.
But when you say, but there's nothing other than the supreme being.
Yeah, the
no
Brahma.
problem. I said it. Yeah, in a different form than I do. No problem.
The Brahma is probably closer to what Gabe believes in.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I just had one question. Everyone, the majority of people, they all believe in the same God. Is that right?
He's saying a higher power, kind of extreme, like highest power.
But I mean, if we were to break it down, though, like this higher power, like these belief systems, right? They're all different, like how people experience it and stuff, right?
Okay, I'm gonna address that. When I say that, yes, we have different beliefs about the substance, who he is, how many persons he is, what's his morality. Hindu says have a morality, God is this. I agree with you. But that we are all unified that he exists. Why do we say he exists? Not because we were told by birth or culture that God exists. No, because we see design. We see an existence that must have a source, right? We see an intellectual existence. We see
I don't see
a design.
Again, you're presupposing that,
No,
right?
no,
You're suggesting that everyone sees
brother,
it, sees design, sees this, sees that. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just believe and they don't even know what they believe, right?
No.
Yeah,
I'm saying this is what we believe. We believe there is intelligent design.
Who's we?
Yeah, that's what we believe, right? You can say we're wrong, but that's how we see this.
Who's
our
we?
Intuitive reason why we believe in God first, right?
Who's we, though?
We, this majority of the planet who believes in a higher power.
It's
a
an
majority
ad
of
populum,
people.
Fallacy.
It's a majority of people who disagree on a lot of things. Correct?
I agree, but we don't disagree that he exists, right? I agree.
Well, we
don't know,
disagree
man.
on. I guess the disagreement is on what is it? The disagreement is on what is it, though? Right?
Yeah, first you'd have to kind of define.
It's about what is it, but we all agree. The majority of the planet agrees intuitively that there is someone, a higher power, right? Why? Because we can sense.
Not higher. Not higher. It's just the same power.
What do you mean it's not higher? Well, it's lower.
No. I don't think there could be greater.
Some people believe that a guy, had puts things in a hat and he, had to decode it with a cedar stone, right? It's not the same type of things. People have conceptions, right? I think you're framing this fucked up.
Thank you for achieving my goal, my people.
Anyways.
Thank you. 1.21 Giga, what's up? Thank you, Cody. I appreciate you. And I've missed you, buddy. Haven't seen you, but I heard you got kicked. And that's not fun because you are a wonderful voice when it comes to speaking truth to power. So I guess Servant, are you Christian? Are you Muslim?
Muslim, yes.
Muslim. Okay. How do you square away the fact that your Muslim God does not line up with the Hebrew God?
In what way, Lena?
Like in many different ways, like prophecy, in different ways. Like there's what is there like a Messiah? I mean, I guess I don't really know like the Muslim religion too much,
So how
other
do you
than
know if
Muhammad,
yeah,
and,
but how do you know
gross
if they
things
don't?
that
If you don't know,
Muhammad's done with,
yeah, if you don't know
Aisha
Islam,
and stuff like that.
yeah, if you don't know Islam, I don't think you can make an argument at all, Lena.
Well, I do know the Hebrew God, and that all makes sense to me logically.
Do you know the Islamic
except
God?
for I don't understand where the God came from. But in the Hebrew Bible, it does say that God was, a descendant of other gods, El Elyon, the Most High. Do you
Sure.
believe that? Do you believe that your God is part of a like pantheon of other gods that came from earlier religions, Canaanite religions?
Oh, you're talking about it's the same God, maybe a different name before. That's what you're saying. That's what the Jewish.
Like there were multiple gods, and the God of Yahweh was given by the God Most High to Israel, aka Jacob.
What's the first commandment, brother? According to Jewish
There are
first commandment?
no other gods before me.
Okay, so I think
That doesn't mean that there's no other gods that exist. That's a God telling his people that you cannot worship other gods
okay
than him.
So, but remember, it goes with the concept of idolatry and polytheism. Why was idolatry?
Have you read Genesis?
I was just asking you something. Why did idolatry? Why is the Jewish God want to eradicate idolatry?
Idolatry? Because he is a jealous God. He does not want people to worship other gods.
No, that's not true. That's not the reason.
Okay.
The reason why idolatry was removed because those are false gods. Why are they false gods? Anything for example, we can create false deities.
I mean, it's giving Trump. It's giving Trump saying it's fake news. Everyone, it's fake news. That's false news. Don't believe in that. Like that's all I'm getting from this Yahweh figure. Those are false gods.
No problem.
Even though Asherah definitely existed, and
can I tell you why?
Shamash definitely existed because Shamash defeated Yahweh.
Okay, no problem. So the Jewish God.
No problem. Like I just told you, another God is in the text and defeated Yahweh.
Okay,
these aren't false.
Can I just finish it?
Okay.
The Jewish God evaluates his truths that he's the one who should be credited for everything, the creation of the universe. That no one else should be credited for something that he didn't do. For example, some people worship the sun. Should the sun be credited for something? No, it's a false deity, right? The sun has no power. So this is how the Islamic God as well speaks. There is none worthy of worship except God alone. You can worship something, but is it worthy? No, because it doesn't have power. It should not be credited.
That sounds like a manipulative tool to control people.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion.
Servan, let me ask, what makes you think that God can create something other than himself? Like, why can't that be the case, that he can't?
I'm sorry?
Like, what makes you assume that God can create something other than himself?
Imperfection.
Another God.
No, like other than himself. Like he can create something separate and apart from himself.
I am separate from God. So what you're talking about?
But what if I say that God can't create something that's separate and apart from himself? Like why would I be wrong in saying that?
Because you're giving God lack of power, like a lack of power. God is all powerful by standard definition.
All powerful means all the power that exists, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean all the power to do anything you want. You can still be all powerful within your limitations.
Okay. Are you saying I'm part of God? No problem. I accept that.
So wait, are you part of God or not?
No problem. I can accept that I'm part of God, but I'm not.
See,
the full
this
God.
is where like the culty stuff comes in, to where now you're just like faking it till you make it.
No. I think.
I'm sorry. Are you like a professional at your like epistemology? Are you like a imam?
I'm consistent. Yes.
You're consistent. You just had two inconsistent things that you just said. You said that you were apart from God, and then that now you are, okay, I am a part of God.
No problem.
You just contradicted yourself.
Okay, no problem. I accept that contradiction. But here, I'm correcting myself because it's going to become irrelevant. Why? Whether I'm part of God or I'm not from God, I'm not God. Being part of
I'm
God.
kind of sus, chat. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm
not-
speaking and interrupting me, but no
You're
problem.
not
Keep going.
God, you said?
Keep going. I'm listening. I can say things and listen.
Okay, so for example, is my hand myself? No, right? My hand is part of me, right? But it doesn't mean it's me. My hand doesn't speak. My hand is not a. So this is just basic logic, brother. I'm not gonna teach you logic. You seem smart, right?
Hands.
If I'm right, so I'm being a part of God. It doesn't mean I'm God.
Do speak.
You know, like
I don't.
you're saying, but you're positing that there could be something other than God, like.
Okay, what was the point of the question, brother? Where is this going?
I'm just wondering, like, why can't I just as rationally say that all that exists is God, and God cannot create something?
Okay, why is this
Wouldn't-
question relevant? Where is this
Okay,
going?
so let's just take this question because I think it's an interesting one. Now, if God was perfect, if God is all powerful, if God is able to do whatever, why would God create anything other than another God? Because you're asking basically, why would a perfect being create imperfection?
The Quran responds to this. Okay, if there was more than one God, this universe would implode. For God to have one will, to set a balance to this universe with a constant of the universe. If there was more than one God, this universe will shackle. Okay, I want molecules of water to have two atoms of oxygen. The other God maybe says, "Well, I want 3." They will not disagree. They will not agree. Okay, so therefore, monotheism is the most logical understanding of God.
No, it's not
Right.
though, because a perfect if this one God is all powerful and created everything and is perfect, then how does a perfect thing create imperfection? Why?
Sure. I like
just
that.
think of when this God was alone by themselves, and they're just sitting in their aloneness. Perfection. Everything's perfect. Nothing needs to be changed. Why then change it?
Okay. Well, first of all, we have to make sure that we understand the nature of God. God is one. He's the one who possesses the divine nature, not you, not me, right? So by standard of it, he can create. He has an attribute of creating. Now, would he create? Would he take a risk to create someone who would undermine his glory and power? No. I don't think I want a God who will take a risk to undermine his glory by someone else. He will create someone who serve him, and this is the way. You don't like it, but it is what it is. So
no, but like you're saying a perfect God can create imperfection.
no, yeah, let me respond to that. So God, for example, in my Muslim paradigm, God created imperfect life. Why? Because there is intent for it.
What was
But
the intent?
that would regard him as like not. Oh, okay, so he's still perfect. He just intended to create imperfection.
Yes, of course.
Would a perfect
he
being
create
have
naked?
intents other than to create perfection?
Okay, I'm sorry. Say it again.
Logically, I don't think a perfect being would have an intent other than to create or bring about perfection.
Why? Who said that? Where did you get this standard?
But like regardless of that, man, you're positing that God can create something. I'm saying, why isn't it just as rationally as possible that God can't create anything?
He can't create anything?
Yeah, like why? Yeah, because
because of one of his attributes, he can. For example, can you draw a painting? Okay, let me explain to you. Can you draw?
You're just saying that though, right?
Yeah.
But you're just saying that he has those attributes. I'm saying, why can't I just as rightly say that God is limited and can't create anything but himself?
Right. I think you're just like adding on all these like, oh yeah, God can do that. God, no, I'm not part of God. I am part of God. It's like yes and like you're yes and.
I'm going from a contingency argument. When we accept that he exists, he must have some attributes.
God is what is God contingent of?
Like the contingency argument means that there is a necessity, right? There is something, the necessary attributes. If this existence exists, it has necessary attributes, not contingency. Sorry, it has necessary attributes. Do you understand? Those attributes, one of them is creation. He can create whatever you want.
But what if it's not creation though? why can't that be the case?
Why can't
just,
he
like,
create if he
bounced.
brother?
Because he's
Okay.
limited. Because he's limited to in his
Okay,
power. Can't create.
yeah. If we mirror how we exist, can you create something, brother, yourself?
Hold on.
No.
Pablo,
You can't.
are you there?
No.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I'm
I'm here.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm 28.
Okay.
I
thank you.
can only assemble. I'm not creating means to bring into something
No,
new into existence.
Okay, he's using his own substance. You said that, and I accept that. I consider that. Let's say he uses his own substance to make something. Can he do that, brother?
But
Are you
that- yeah,
allowing,
it-
are you going to allow him
but-
to do that?
But that substance
Why would
would
he
still
do
be
that?
him.
Yeah.
That
why-
substance would still be him, though, right?
Okay, no problem.
What I'm
It's
saying,
not-
he can't.
It's part
he
of, it's
can't
part
create.
of him. It's part
No,
of
he
him.
can't, yeah, but he's not creating something. So he hasn't created anything. He's creating. Nothing has been created.
See, you guys are like stuck in this like metaphysical,
Mhm.
like trying to figure out what God even is. Where I'm like saying you don't even need this like God concept to explain why we're here. Like,
Why? Okay.
you can
What if there's a
simply
judgment
just
day?
take that variable out of the equation.
And host, what if there is a judgment day and you are actually not
What
taking
if
heed
there's
of
a
that?
judgment day and you're wrong?
I'm wrong. I'm wrong about
Right.
what?
No, but
What are you proposing? Go ahead. Go ahead. Give me what you're proposing, brother.
All you're saying is, what if you're wrong?
Yeah.
What
that's
if
all
I'm
you're
wrong?
saying.
I'm.
That's what you ask. That's what you're asking him. What if you're wrong? Well, what if?
What if you're wrong?
That's
I'm
it.
taking a less risk than you. If you're wrong, you're better.
Pascal's wager is a weak sauce, yo.
Well, my argument's kind of like in the middle ground. I feel like I think atheists have, or everyone has some sort of faith, disconnected from like religion. I feel like people believe in things without necessarily having any sort of evidence. I feel like even people who don't believe in religion, and I feel like they're eventually they find something else to kind of latch onto. If it's
Guys,
like
sorry, I've gotta go. Salam alaikum. Take care, brother.
later.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
I feel like I feel like a lot of people become spiritual, and then if not, other people. I feel like we need meaning and purpose somehow, like because we're not just like robots. You know what I mean? We're not just logic. I feel like even the most hardcore like atheist has some sort of like faith in something that's not necessarily scientifical, like love or purpose or meaning or some kind of like emotional thing. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't know if I completely agree. I think it would be more beneficial for us to not put the cart before the horse and to start from like ground zero, right? Like to say, we don't know what's going on, but
Yeah.
we do know a few things. So let's try and apply these things instead of just, assigning a purpose to something we don't know.
Do you think why do you think people that don't believe in God wake up every day if they need some kind of
circadian-
rational
Because coffee's
Like-
good, dude.
Yeah, coffee's good. Circadian rhythms are
So you would just be
emergent
like-
of evolutionary processes.
you
The
just
fact
be good
that the
feeling
sun goes up and
equals-
down,
so you just be like good feeling equals good action, like
No, but like just being alive is pretty gnarly, right?
I mean, here's a question
yeah,
for
but
you,
we're not really like we don't really follow
Pablo.
the same rules like
Pablo.
animals do.
But there doesn't have to be any meaning to my life. I just gotta
Right.
enjoy life for what it is.
Pablo,
That's what I'm trying to say. That
I'm-
you have some sort of meaning in your
I'm
life.
trying to ask you, if God didn't exist, are you trying to say like what's to stop you from just going buck wild and
No,
eating people's
I'm
faces
saying,
or
like,
something?
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying
Okay.
like I feel like everyone sort of has like a rational faith, even if it's a little bit, like even if it's 1%. I feel like everyone sort of does.
Yeah, I would
Um,
agree that we shouldn't like be completely absolute like I said earlier, I don't think that truth is ever attainable, like 100% truth. I don't think there is such a thing. I
What
think
if
that
it is?
I think it's asymptotal. It's just like the only way that I can make sense of a lot of different things is that truth, as humans, we would have to be like omni gods in order
So what if
to
okay? So what if
understand
what if
this truth. Like
what
you
if this?
know,
What
like a
if
mantis shrimp can see like 12,000 more colors than, or like probably even more than that, than humans can see. It's like we just don't have the perception that even other
So what
life
if, okay,
has.
so what if it's this? I think knowledge is just understanding the causes of effects, just causal relations. Like I don't think the sun sets at 8 is not knowledge. I think that's just information. Uh, and so there could be limited causes, very small amount of causes that causes bewildering effects. But like if you know all the causes of all effects, then you are omniscient. I think you have all knowledge at that point. And I think humans can comprehend the cause of all effects.
I don't. I don't think humans can comprehend the causes of all effects, and that I'm not even sure if all cause and effect happens. Like in quantum mechanics, cause and effect are probabilities, and like when you break down the wave function, that's when like we still don't really know exactly what it is that breaks down the wave function that allows us to decide whether or not a photon is acting like a wave or a particle, because it's actually acting like both in our human understanding of it, in our Euclidean and Newtonian physics and Euclidean
But you don't.
geometry, and with quantum mechanics, we are able to kind of put a band-aid on these explanations by saying like, oh, well, they're both superposition as spinning clockwise and counterclockwise, and we just don't know until we observe it. But even then, like we've created these like Schrodinger has created the wave function itself, which can go into place instead of having these like actual answers. They're just kind of like placeholders of both yes and no. So we don't
Right,
really
right.
know which way or the other. It's just both yes and no because we don't quite understand it.
But you're
Well,
saying
okay,
that
you know,
it's impossible to understand it, right?
I'm just saying right now, as far as we have gone, meant like intelligence wise and with like physics is not complete. Like there's still the what do they call it, the unifying
well,
theory
okay.
that they're
So
looking
you
for.
mentioned Schrodinger. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned Schrodinger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Schrodinger's cat, the famous,
Superposition, yeah, he's both dead
yeah. So
and not dead.
my interpretation was that he had that allegory of the cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cat being both alive and dead in the box. I thought he, hypothesized this as a way to tell us how ridiculous that sounds, that it can be both at the same time, right? That was kind of
In a
my,
way, I mean, in a way, it is
yeah.
kind of like, yeah, we're not quite answering the question, but by saying that the cat is both dead and not dead, we are able to do these wonderful things like create, nuclear power, and we are able to split the atom, and we are able to create nuclear weapons, and we are able to create quantum computing, and it has
Yeah.
brought us things kind of in like a cheat code sort of way, but this is what mathematics has done a lot of time. Like that calculus is just the study of change, like over a period of time. It's like derivatives and functions and things like that. Binomial, trinomials, they're curves. Then there's conics, and then there's like all these things. And when we like use calculus, what it has allowed us to do is work with infinity, because it'll tell you like as you approach in this direction of infinity, this is what you'll start to get, and if you approach this direction of infinity, this is what you'll start to get. And
Yeah.
it's just like a series. It would be more of a line with an arrow pointing it won't. It's not a definitive answer. You can never really actually find out like what x is. You would find out that x is b squared minus 3 or something, you know,
Right.
and you have another
Yeah, I
variable
understand.
put in there, and that's like the whole point of calculus is to kind of have a placeholder for these things we don't quite have answers for because it deals with things like the infinite. And to answer Mr. Catholic in the chat,
Uh,
that I love being gay more. Benny, is it
it's-
100% truth that truth is unattainable? So he's trying to say is that an objective statement to say that truth is subjective, or that truth is not attainable. And right there, I would say that we don't have an answer to that type of thing. That's like why calculus exists, because we have to break it down into more variables to kind of make up for what we have. And yeah, it
so
brings us things like it allows us to create these awesome buildings and architectures and designs, but it's not the answer of like while approaching infinity, what will this be?
so I've like barely in the surface of calculus, and my understanding, I mean, it's probably wrong, but Newton created it to decide how to explain how the physics of other planets works, but obviously it's extended out way past that to help us with science. So yeah, I guess I'm just trying to understand what you're saying.
Have you gotten to the part of calculus where you have to draw the little line, and at the top of the line you have the plus infinity and you have the minus infinity? Speaking of infinities, I have a little
No, I
bit of
just,
an infinity going on over here.
my friend is a calculus nut, and he was trying to explain it to me. So,
I mean,
not really.
calculus is also like people can just
Yeah,
be naturally good at it.
yeah. But
It's
anyway.
kind of
So,
like puzzle and solving.
have you looked into agnosticism?
Agnosticism or agnosticism?
Agnosticism.
Well, I mean, like I would consider myself an agnostic atheist.
Right,
Because I
but
don't think truth is attainable. Like I don't think absolute truth is attainable. I would say that I'm always going to be an agnostic. So
right,
to
but
kind of
I'm
talk to
agnostic
the other guy from
without
earlier, like there is a 1% chance that like I might be wrong. I might be wrong.
right. Okay. That's awesome. So you're not dogmatic, because a lot of atheists are very dogmatic. They won't look at the science. Um, like
Yeah.
a lot of them will kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater, throw whole data sets out with preconceived assumptions. Are you a physicalist?
Yeah, and
So you believe
materialist.
that only thing in the universe is physical, right?
Hmm.
And nothing potentially could be mental to you, right?
Unless you can like come up with some sort of
Well, your
description
emotions,
of
right?
I don't know, like beta waves. I guess beta waves
You're
are that is that like because you have brain waves. So like, is
Well, a
there?
good example is like qualia, you know, in the microtubules of our brain, right? It's basically the area where experience can't be quantified, right? Like you can't explain how um, I don't know, a burger tastes because it's not
it's
objective, right? You
yeah,
can't
Right. It's
measurable.
explain.
subjective.
Yeah. So basically, experiential, like perspective or consciousness, right? There's many names for it. Basically, you can't replicate that in the
Yeah,
physical model, right?
yeah.
In
Like
the
you're not going to deny.
physicalist.
You're not going to deny that your heart. That if you have heartbreak, you're not going to deny that that doesn't exist, right? But
Right.
you can't measure heartbreak. You can't measure heart physically. You can't measure heartbreak.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would say that like somatic responses to loss can happen, like pain in the chest.
Right,
That
but
is
how do
that is
you
brought about
replicate
by.
that?
I'm
Yeah.
still talking.
Oh, sorry.
that is brought about by like, you know, changes in serotonin levels, dopamine, maybe a low in dopamine, a low in epinephrine, a lot of different enzymes in the body. Gut health can really play into these things.
Yeah, they're
Like,
factors, but it's still the question still remains like, how do you explain that in a scientific manner to someone, to a layman? You know, like you can explain the biological mechanisms to like in a deterministic way, right? To get to that point, but there's this big question for consciousness. Like, how do you describe consciousness in a lab setting? We all know it's perspective, subjective perspective is real, right? But humans aren't just mindless zombies, right?
so that's where the idealism comes in, you know, like I
Yeah.
my idea of like consciousness could just be algorithmic, right? So like if a uh virus has, you know, like certain negative ions on the bottom of its like little legs. Have you ever seen like a picture of a virus? They look like little
Mhm.
landing like gear, like they're gonna
Mhm.
land on the moon or something. And then when they do land, like they have little ions that are on the legs. They'll then maybe like open up a cell wall, and then they can inject DNA in. Now there is some sort of consciousness going on, but really it's like program. You know, it's algorithmic. So now is that
How
the
so?
same? Is that the same as like you or I talking right now about that like situation? And I would say maybe, you know, like in a way, like this is a more advanced, more, you know, combined with, you know, electric like shocks that are going through axons and neural pathways and you know, protein pump inhibiting areas between the dendrites and the axons. It's just like there's a lot going on that make you do what you do. There's, I mean, I could probably come up with an example of different, like, why do we do these things?
Oh, no, no, no. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
I really like Robert Sapolsky, Dr. Robert Sapolsky. Are you familiar with him?
I don't
He,
know.
he's basically a hard determinist. Um, so I understand all of what you're saying, like predeterminism, right? Like he explains basically that every action, like there's no free will, according to him.
Right. So like B theory of
Um,
time kind of thing. Yeah, I would say that that would
yeah.
be closer to what I think. And now as far as like determinism, I guess if the universe is existing eternally, then yeah, there's it's predetermined.
Yeah, I struggle. I really struggle with
There
this.
was no
Why?
beginning though, and there was no ending. But
No, but
it's just static. It's just particles moving around and arranging in different forms.
Basically at the micro level all the way to the macro level,
Right.
there's no input for free will, and then it works like a machine, right? That's the very
Like an
well,
simplistic.
algorithm.
well, well. Just because there's no absolute free will doesn't mean that there's a modicum of free will.
Oh, I agree there. Yeah. Like if you were to,
I
you know, set an
actually,
axiomatic like as humans, can we decide to, you know, follow the law or not? Then yeah, we have free will. But like
I
I
Right.
can't
disagree.
will myself to turn
You're saying
into a you know, like a glass goose or something.
right. Within you have freedom within limitations.
Right.
Um, but like Danny, you're saying
Y-
that I can't choose whether or not to smoke the cigarette. I can't. The
For
potential
it's a
for me to do
candy, that's a
otherwise.
candied one TikTok. We are actually not talking about a real one. Sorry.
They really censor that. Oh my god.
They do.
Wow.
What,
Um,
cigarettes?
Don't say the word.
candy cigarettes.
Don't
Candy
don't
cigarettes.
even say that. Just
Yeah.
call it. Just
But
let's call
so
them
to push.
Skittles or something. How about that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You take a
No, I
puff of
know
your
what you're
Skittles.
saying. So basically, there's like, it's really fascinating how he explains it so well. Um, and the moral implications of this are obviously very, very controversial. But the way he breaks it down is amazing. It's so profound. Like basically, it advocates for prison reform. Uh,
Mm-hmm. I'm
you
for that.
know, yeah. So basically, less focus on punishment, more
Mm-hmm.
focus on rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
Like he always cites the Scandinavian judicial system. They're famously more like resorts. So like he also uses the analogy of if your kid is sick and he has the sniffles and you're told by the administration not to send him to school the next day, you're just gonna keep him home. He's not gonna be punished, right? But if you expand that out, and think that someone is maybe using their free will for evil, right? You'd be more inclined to hate that person, right? And then you would be more punitive. So it's overall a very good thing, in my opinion, for society to
What,
understand
just
this
remove
concept.
remove accountability completely from everyone?
Yeah, it's
No, I don't think
controversial
so.
as hell. Yeah,
So I
but
used to work at a jail for 6 years, and you wouldn't believe the amount of like return customers is what we'd call them, that would come in. They would be like, I just would bail the or not bail them out, but like I would release them, and then not even by the time I could like get back into the part to where you book people in, that person's already being brought back in and getting booked. And it's like I literally just released that person, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, well they went out and had a freaking, like
yeah,
they didn't learn
that's actually
anything. They
that's
they
really
they came in
interesting.
here, they slept for a night, and we let them go, and then they just did exactly what they were doing before, and they got arrested for the exact same thing that they were doing before, to where yeah, things that can bring down recidivism
Mhm.
are what I would like go for. Just locking people
Yeah.
up, it's not good. We've
Yeah,
shown
especially, oh
this.
my God, it's so personal to me because the US is like, I mean, you probably have better insight, but the US is probably one of the worst, uh, punishment, punitive system that we have.
Yeah,
If you look at the 13th Amendment, it basically says that slaves are legal
as a
when they're
punishment. Yeah.
incarcerated. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and
horrifying.
that's what I used to do. Is I used to pay the trustees. I would pay them sometimes up to $3 an hour for, or sorry, $3 for 8 hours. It would be $3 for 8 hours of work. Say they were making or working in the kitchen, or cleaning up bathrooms, cleaning up biohazard. People would come
Mhm.
in to the front. We'd call it the bullpen, booking, and they'd be bloody or something. The trustees would usually have to come in. Those would be the more trusted trustees, so they might make $6, but for the
Yeah,
most
it's
part, they're
like,
they're making $3 for 8 hours of work. And then
yeah,
the
how is that
response
not
to that,
radicalized? Yeah.
the response to that is, well, they'd be bored. They want something to do, and it's like this is so bad. This is so bad.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like designed to be lucrative for these private prison systems.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even say private privates. Like I would just say that there's like phone, and we're getting like way off track here, but like there's like phone systems that prey on people that want to use the phone, that will call up
Mhm.
their grandparents, and they will like rag on their grandparents for not sending money in, and then they're using their phone minutes as
It's
uh,
horrifying.
like
Yeah.
betting, and they're using it to do like different things and stealing other people's phone minutes, and it's just like it's sickening when you see it
Yeah.
at, like
It's
at a
just
large scale.
Yeah, and so uh, if you think that free will is not a thing, you wouldn't be as, you know, vindictive to these people that are just, in my opinion, abuse victims and cycling it back. And there's a whole other, you know, can of worms with this. There's many other factors, but basically, it does take away accountability.
To a degree,
Uh,
so I would agree with that. Like to a degree, I would say that yeah, there's probably you could keep tracing back. Like okay, this person was abused. This person abused this person. This person that led to like these things. Hey, Fen, and like that caused this like horrid situation that put them here in jail, and maybe teaching them to understand like what got them there will maybe help them not get there again. I think there's benefit in that, but I think there is a modicum of free will or choice that's going on there. Like a recognition of a moral like way of like yeah, what I did was wrong, and I need to be better. These are moral words, and a lot of people will say like, well, where do you base these morals off of? And I would just say, reciprocity, like very simply just treating others the way you want to be treated is a pretty good one. And like if you try and base it off the Bible, then you're condoning things like slavery and keep going down that road. But I think that axiomatically as humans, probably like a large majority of humans would agree like to not harm others. And I would not say that that's objective, but if we did write it down and all agreed on it as like bodies of governments, then yeah, it would be in its way objective. But like as far as like true objectivity goes, that objectivity leaves when humans leave this plane.
Um, well, okay, so to finish up, I'm trying to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so I was explaining his because a lot of people with this radical concept of no free will, they'll point to okay, so what do we do with the evil ones, right? The the bad people in society, the I don't know what we're allowed, the unalivers, and
Serial unalivers.
yeah, and he's arguing that you can still use a quarantine system, right? Like, so that's why I was using the example of a child with their parents keeping them home from school to keep others safe, right? You would still quarantine them, but you wouldn't take away their toys because they're not, you know, uh,
Yeah,
going
but
back in ancient time.
Danny, do you really feel like you don't have a choice in every action you make, like however
Yeah,
limited the choice is?
yeah, I really
Have
do.
you ever
It's
like had a devastating thing happen to you that you cannot explain?
no.
Either Gabe, have you?
No.
So when in about 2007, I had a very close friend of mine die unalive in a wreck. And what really came down to why he unalived, and it blows my mind every time I think about it, is that he had this genetic issue that his father also unalived for, where his aorta, the wall, like lining of his aorta, was just very, very thin. And when they got in this wreck, he was sleeping in the back seat, and like his chest happened to hit like a perfect angle of the like seat in front of it, and it instantly like exploded his aorta, and he like unalived within seconds. And I sat there and I thought, why? Like why, if God's there and everything, like why did that happen? And the only conclusion I could think of was, and this is weird too because he played football, so he got hit in the chest all the time. It was just this what one time was like the perfect time, and for that reason, he couldn't go to Vegas with me on our 21st birthday, and it kind of like broke me, in a way. And I would sit there and I would think, okay, well, like maybe if he hadn't moved and gone to this house and moved there, then that's why. So like maybe what caused him to move? Like, okay, well, he had to move because somebody kicked a window in at his old apartment and he had to move out of that apartment, and then he had to move back to this like city, and that's where he got this job that was the party that he was at, where he was sleeping in the back of this car. And you really start to think like, holy crap, there's a lot of different ways that contribute to what put him in that moment.
There's endless. You can extend that almost endlessly. It's genetics, heredity, culture.
Right.
There's so many external factors that would lead to that.
And honestly,
The thing is,
within the last year,
there's not one destination point, right? There's like a field of probabilities, I guess.
This is where I would say it's chaos, right? Like this is butterfly effect in motion, where like the smallest deviations can cause profound differences. If you look at like certain like causes and effects that happen in the world, you will like quickly find out that it might come down to as much as what is it, like Franz Ferdinand did, like because he ate a sandwich or something, like the Archduke was not like unalived at that time. There's some like really weird stuff out there about like weird coincidences. And it's chaos theory. And like recently within the last year, like I got diagnosed with bilateral testicular cancer. I'm still trying to figure out how, like the why of that, because I can't have kids now. Like I have to take testosterone every week because I don't have any more like system that creates that. I had to get a major surgery that took out like 60 lymph nodes out of my like belly, and I don't have a why any of that happened. Is it sin? Is it because a lady named Eve ate a fruit? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah, this is a good point.
Now, what I do think it is it's actually these like plurofluoral like acids or whatever, PFAs. There is like a lot of studies recently and a lot of lawsuits that are going on.
Are you talking about pollution?
Yeah, contamination. But you still have to have the genetic markers. So like the contamination does one half of the effect, the other half is still like built into your DNA. So I would say that if God did exist, there's still God's, creation in all of it.
Well, first off, let me say I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh,
that sucks.
I'm on surveillance now. It's all, we're all good and kosher.
Yeah, and then another other thing is, isn't it relieving to have this view? I mean, you can just do the willful observer or participant and kind of like do a thought experiment. Like, what if there is no free will? It's very relieving to me. Like, you would think, like you just asked the question, why, if there was a God, why did this happen to me? It's like it absolves you of all of that, and it's to me it's very relieving. Like, why am I in the situation I am? Why isn't my life better? It's not my fault, right?
Right.
It's not.
Well, I think that's a cop out though. Like I don't know, like
I would agree. There's certain things you can do, but like say you were born handicapped, like yeah you can try but you're not going to become like an Olympic runner. Like you could become like a
Schopenhauer has a good quote. You can
and
do
that's
what
something
you will.
that's what I
you
follow.
can't will what you will. Yeah.
Right. Schopenhauer's
right. So you believe, so Danny, you believe in a modicum of there's no such thing as absolute free will, but you believe in a will, right, Danny, or no?
Well, so by free will, I mean,
but do you believe that there's a will?
No external factors involved. Basically, you are the only
Right.
thing that.
That doesn't exist though, right? That's there's no such thing as
That's
absolute
my
free will.
point. That's my point. Yeah. So basically, if you really believe that there is zero free will, you
No,
guys
but
are arguing that there's some, right?
there's some, yeah. You don't think that there's a will?
There's
Well,
the
that's different
like
than free will, right?
the will of all existence, and then there's like the will in itself. That's more like Schopenhauer, and
Yeah, it gets
it's
pretty
kind of
technical.
yeah, and it's kind of not really shaken out all the way. You
Yeah.
get into like pessimism, and there's like non-idealists and idealists.
Yeah. And
Uh,
Well,
nihilism is a big problem with this
mhm.
concept. Like people
so like
will ask, like, how do I motivate myself? Motivation is still
Mm-hmm.
a very, very tricky.
Well,
Like he
and
hasn't.
if you think about it, like just simple unnecessary suffering, like why do we have children if like life is suffering, if existence is suffering in the end, like even if you think about evolution, for us to grow, how many things had to suffer, right?
right.
Like
The thing with life is as horrific as it is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why there's all this suffering is because
yeah,
it couldn't be any other
antinatalism.
way.
Sorry, there
For there
was
to be
in the chat.
pain, there has to be pleasure. Everything
Yeah,
is dualistic in this universe.
I
It
agree.
can't be any other way.
Right,
I
and
agree.
the pain outplays the pleasure. Like it is just
I don't know about
But
that.
unbelievably so. Like
You'd rather not be here.
just think like how many animals are just like lying in the
No,
middle of a
I know.
forest, like
It's a
screaming in pain.
it's a bloodbath. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
But there's still, think of how much life, right? There's two sides of that coin. Think of how much
yeah,
life has experienced
Right,
joy,
but
right?
like how much
And
more pain caused, like was the cause of that. Like just look at evolution, like the small like changes that allow for something to have a better survivability is found through generations and generations of life unaliving, like out of 5,000,
yeah,
like
yeah, but
whatever's, maybe two or
unaliving is quick.
three live on.
Unaliving is quick, right? like
Not always.
like
not
not,
necessarily.
maybe not always, but usually you're not suffering for long. But what you're saying is that there's way more suffering than there is joy to have in life.
This is all like, this is antinatalism. This is kind of like pessimism in its way. Like Schopenhauer
Yeah.
like says like the way to kind of deal with the very, very depressing fact of this is to just enjoy music.
Yeah.
and
Like
to
people,
like enjoy aesthetics.
yeah, like people always say, like, what if UBI was a thing? It's like, oh, I would just pick up my guitar and start learning more guitar, and I would do whatever the hell I wanted to do, or
Yeah,
whatever I willed to do.
right.
Um,
Instead of
but
what you had to do.
yeah, to me it's a no-brainer. Like
Mhm.
I would enjoy life way more. It would
Some people
clear up.
they would find probably enjoyment, in work, or but like in the end, yeah, like it's basically not thinking about it is the
Yeah.
way to go on about it, because
Yeah, and he also says basically a lot of people stress about this concept of no free will, but it's beautiful if you just kind of sit back and let the machine work, watch the machine work. And I find profound beauty in that. Like I can just observe humans at work and progress in science and, you know, entertainment.
Well, why
There's
don't you
there's so many.
why don't you just tomorrow, just when you wake up, don't choose to do anything,
you
and
can't.
let it run for you,
I do that.
Sometimes
I literally
But
do that.
you're not gonna go anywhere, dude. You just
No,
sit there.
no.
yeah, but
You think it would be
you'd
like that
probably get
in
bored
theory.
of it,
You
like
think it would be like that, but you're not the type of person to do that, right?
right.
Based on an infinite amount of external factors. Maybe your parents genetically are less inclined to be that type of person, so you're more inclined to be less lazy, right? Like,
But you really,
go ahead,
you really
go ahead.
feel, you really, you
So
really feel,
hold on,
you
bear
really
with
feel I
me.
don't
So
have a
here's an
choice.
example. So go ahead, try to practice your free will right now.
I don't believe in free will. I think there's a small amount of free will.
Well, then that would imply that there is free will, right?
No, that free. I don't know what you mean by free will. Like,
Well, there is or there
for,
isn't, right?
well,
Just to be a
I
little
don't.
pedantic. Right?
Yeah, yeah. You're saying free will is like without restriction or coercion whatsoever, right? You can do whatever you want. I don't think that even exists in. I don't even think God has free will, but I think there's will within freedom within
Right, but general
limitations.
consensus, like if you ask someone, a layman, they would think, yeah, of course there's free will. I can choose to go
Yeah,
walk with my
you
left
could
foot or my right.
yeah, exactly. You have the
So,
freedom
so in
to do that.
in theory, it's like a no-brainer to think that, oh yeah, of course there's free will. But in reality, if you try it, to practice it, you really can't. Technically, you can't. I
Well,
realize it's technical, but
I look at it like a painter and his palette. A painter is limited to the colors on his palette, but he can create infinite variations of that. He can.
well,
I
can
can
he
choose to
though?
make. I can choose to make a
Is
painting or not. Like they just the fact that there's the ability for me to not make a painting means that there is a choice there. It's not predetermined the future.
right, but you're confusing choice with free will.
Right.
Yeah. Like, okay, so tomorrow, just say, okay, there's no free will. I'm gonna plan my day out like this. You would still have a normal day, right? You would be like, oh, I'm not gonna sit here and watch paint dry. That's boring. I'm gonna do, I need to go to work and
You just
or maybe
understand that
maybe
the reason why you got hungry and went to McDonald's is because you were hypoglycemic and your body needed more, glucose.
yeah, and it's bizarre. It's like I can, turn my stress off. I can turn my uh, it's like I don't have to think as much. You don't have
Yeah,
to
well,
kind of focus on
ignorance is bliss and lack of accountability. If you're not accountable for anything that you do, then yeah, for sure. Be like,
I think there's
was it
still
made?
accountability, personally.
Yeah, like I don't see how there's not. I don't see how you don't think you're actually making a choice. Like I can choose to get up or not right now.
I think there's like
but is that
there's
because we're
steps of like
prompting you
moral
to?
accountability, I guess. At one point
Yeah.
there might not be, like, for instance, with some of these people that get like major head trauma, say that a perfectly normal person is acting perfectly normal and peaceful, and then they experience major head trauma that makes them want to unalive their kids because they
Mhm.
start hearing things in their head. Are they accountable?
Exactly. And also ignorance. You could just say a person is not susceptible to new information, less inclined to uh, for whatever reason, they don't want to learn more. They don't. Also, yeah, like it could be mental illness, it could be psychology, psychopathy,
Yeah, lots of
genetic.
things.
Yeah,
There's all, like,
yeah.
it could even be the other way around, where like they're super nice because they have Williams syndrome or something.
Mhm.
Um, all right, everybody. I'm gonna be ending here pretty soon. I'm gonna bring up one more person. You guys can stick around. You've been a really good. You guys are cooking the shit out of me. Damn. Uh, who dog faced Niebla? Can I get your age, please? Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Hear me? Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm 21.
All right. What's your thoughts? But
Well,
we're
I
only
just
gonna
thought,
do this for like maybe like 10 more minutes, just because it's a little past midnight now over here. I gotta wake up in the morning and work. I gotta make the
oh yeah,
choice to wake up in the morning and work. But free will would make me wish that I was not broke. I'm broke, so that's why I have to work, and that's why I have to get up in the morning. Like, I wish I could just not have to do those things, but I have to. So
have
go
you
on.
tried just praying to be a millionaire?
Well, see, maybe this cancer thing is going to end up being a blessing in disguise, because I have been seeing a lot of lawsuits, like ads about contaminated water around the United States and testicular cancer arising from it, and there was like a lot of big class action like settlements. So hey, maybe fingers crossed.
yeah.
I'll pray. I'll pray.
That's the spirit.
So what's up? What are your thoughts on free will, atheism, deism, panpsychism? It's kind of got like higher than I thought it was gonna get, like as far as like heady kind of stuff talking. But
What about
it's been a good
analytic-
discussion.
Are you aware of analytic idealism?
Analytic idealism. Go.
Well, that's
can-
what I've been talking to. That's what I've been.
That's
just
what-
telling. That's what I believe. Yeah.
So
That all
you're a
the-
proponent. You're a proponent of analytic idealism.
Yeah, I'm from some form of idealist. Like yeah.
Me too.
But I
Yeah,
think
man.
all.
Are you familiar? You're probably familiar with Bernardo Castro.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, he's like, articulates it so well.
No, I know. Yeah, exactly. He explains
Like,
how it's like.
What's the big defeater? Is my like question then? Like what's beating out physicalism here?
That it's illogical and it's incoherent. Like one contradiction could be like, because physicalism says matter is not experiential, yet matter is experiential. I mean, right there, that's breaking the law of non-contradiction, right?
Yeah, and I guess that would be more of like a. I'd have to see it in its like premise in like a syllogistic form. I guess a lot of things I've realized are presuppositions. You know, like there's a lot of presupposing that's going on. So when we say things like, oh, you know, like these laws exist in a certain way, that things have to, you know, like go within these laws, where actually I don't think that like laws exist. I think that probabilities exist, and that, you know, probability is high that this law will enact. But is there a probability that spontaneously, like, you could just, a clone of you could, you know, pop up in the middle of the universe floating around? Possibly.
Do you think whatever whatever reality is, it has to be intelligible?
No.
Meaning coherent?
No.
I think it has to be coherent. It has to be like,
No,
like
I think we do cohere that which we are of the reality that we're in, but I don't think that the reality needs us to, like, the reality itself is not what's coherent. You
like
know,
like for example, like
we are
what's up-
cohering it.
like what's the law of non-contradiction? Like you can't exist and then not exist at the same time, right?
In quantum mechanics, you can,
Exist and not exist at the same time.
as a probability, yeah. That's why, like,
Wow.
the idea of like laws and like natural law. Bertrand Russell said this, you know, back in like the 40s, that natural law, and this goes back to, you know, like, because I'm also a gay man, and a lot of Christians and a lot of people will tell me that, you know, like, naturally a man and a woman get together and they have a baby, so that's the natural law of things, when actually there's no natural law. You know, like, there's a probability that somebody could, you know, be considered a man and have a uterus, you know, and give birth. There is a probability of that happening. So when we do things like law, we're doing that narrow kind of like tunnel vision that takes out the nuance. And that is what like chaos theory is it's got all the nuance built into it. It takes account of the nuance.
Do you think it's ever important to like have general rules based on those probabilities?
Yeah,
Like general
I
rules
think
of
that
thumb?
that's a great way to probably go about things. Don't get me wrong. But like when you try to say that this is for in fact 100%, there's no other way, that's when I'm like, bullshit.
So
Well,
you
okay,
think
so-
contradictions can exist?
Do I think contradictions can exist?
Well, to interject with your last part, that you're describing dogmatism, right? like being dogmatic.
Right. I don't like,
Um,
and I don't like dogmatism. I don't like being
but is
dogmatic.
so I would argue that. Well, I don't want to be. Let me rephrase that. Um, do you because I was looking into agnostic atheism, and it seems pretty dogmatic to me. Like to posit that.
I'm an
Uh,
agnostic
but,
atheist and I hate dogma.
well, do you still believe that there is no God?
More than likely, no, there's no God.
What isn't that a little dogmatic though? Right?
I just,
It's kind of reductionistic in a way, right?
yeah, I would say like
Okay.
I go with a more simpler, just I can explain everything I see and experience without having to create this uh fairy tale that then has to have these very specific attributes. Otherwise, it's evil or it's not all powerful or all these other things. And that has a lot of baggage that goes along with it. And then we find ourselves discussing whether or not babies go to hell or not when
Yeah.
we could maybe be discussing like ways to save babies' lives, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, that's refreshing. That's a refreshing take on it.
Yeah. All right, guys.
So
I'm going to have to close this up. We'll get some final thoughts here. How about that? We'll start off. We'll go from the bottom to the top. Gabe, what's your final thought?
My final thought is contradictions can't exist, and if something is incoherent, then it can't be real.
Coherence is a quantum like term. Um, that's like, have you ever seen that movie Coherence? It's really good.
No.
Go watch it. I think it's on like Amazon or something, and it's trippy. It's scary too.
Who's in it? I think I
Oh
remember it.
gosh,
I've heard of it.
it's really good. Oh my gosh, and it's like all
It
about
has.
basically these people become like they kind of like fall like everything stops cohering. So like every moment is a different universe. Like every doorway they open is a possibly like a different universe, and then they have to like kind of try and figure out who
Yeah.
their people are like from their universe, and
Right, I think I've seen that.
they
I gotta
quickly like
rewatch it.
find out like you can't trust these people from the other universe. They're trying to like come into your universe and this, that, and the other. And I think it does a really good job at creating like a psychological thriller out of like a quantum mechanic type of thing. Coherence movie made in 2013. It is on Tubi. Tubi is amazing. It's free.
Yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Go watch it. Go watch Coherence after this. Anybody who's listening, it's a
All right.
good thing to go to bed too. All right, and Danny, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are that being agnostic is profoundly different than being agnostic atheist, in that I feel more open-minded to quote unquote a god in the sense that you use it. Um, li- uh, like, so just because something is not repeatable in a lab setting does not mean we should not look at the data sets. And I think a lot of people in the atheist realm are very dogmatic, and they actually, that's the main argument against most religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm a ufologist, and I study UAP,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people have this stigma around it. So they throw the baby out with the bathwater, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't actually even give me a platform to very calmly uh, discuss the science of it, because they have these preconceived ideas that are toxic and anti-science. Like there's actually a lot of exciting real science in the realm of UAP studies, and it's a philosophical question, not a religious question,
Right.
in my opinion.
It's also like an I think it's a scientific question too, because I mean, it just probabilities again, you know, with the Goldilocks zones and all of those things to consider. You know, it just might so happen that we have maybe encountered multiple different life forms. What do they call them? Like non-terrestrial biologics or something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe
ultra
they're
terrestrials,
maybe they're from a different.
chrononauts. Yeah,
Maybe they're time travelers or from another universe, like in the coherence thing. So, yeah, I'm open to these like ideas, but I do try to like ground myself in kind of what to expect. So, like that is kind of going against the whole chaos theory thing, where I do try to sort of like by just kind of a personal rule to like, okay, you know, Occam's razor this, let's, you know, the easiest answer is the simplest, or, you know, whatever, the simplest answer is the most likely, even though that's not always the same, you know, that's not always true, but it helps with kind of figuring things out. Otherwise you might get lost in a conspiracy, or, you know, you might obsess over your friend passing away, thinking that if this guy didn't kick a window, that your friend wouldn't pass away, and then you know, ended up like resentful of that person when really they didn't know what the, you know, outcome of kicking that window would be.
yeah, man, it was awesome coming up here. Real quick, Gabe, if you're not aware, Bernardo Kastrup is an experiencer for the UAP studies realm. Also, Occam's razor says that they're not extraterrestrials. They are most likely an unknown species, or any of the other Silurian hypotheses, or chrononaut theory, or extra tempestrial models.
Yeah, who
That I
knows?
can point you guys to any of these amazing Harvard, Stanford symposiums that are happening recently. So yeah, you guys seem like refreshingly open minded. So I followed the host. I'll follow you guys. But thanks for having me on
Yeah,
here.
man,
It
I'll
was
call you
it was
back.
cool.
Yeah. And then finally, Niebla.
I mean, I wasn't here for the majority of the conversation, but I guess my final thoughts is just that, you know, God loves us all. That's it.
You son of a
That's all I have to
bitch.
say.
Cooked. You cooked this atheist.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
dude. Roasted
Damn.
them with garlic
I
and
concede. I'm so
olive
tired. I'm
oil.
conceding. You win. You can tell everybody you cooked me. All right, guys. I
Yeah,
appreciate
have a
it.
good one.
Yeah, share. I'm gonna try and have more like discussion type of stuff, less debatey, more kind of like let's figure out what the hell's going on, type of talks. So yeah,
Oh
it
yeah,
was a
dude.
good discussion.
Socratic. I've been searching for this type of Socratic seminar,
Mm-hmm.
But thanks a lot, man. Have a
Yeah,
good one.
yeah. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
You guys have a good night. Thank you, chat. Appreciate you. I love you guys. Have a beautiful night. Okay, and then I have to turn off my other program here. All right, guys. YouTubers, you did great. I love you. W mods. Good night.